Good morning, lovely ladies. It's pouring it down outside today, and I've got a busy day ahead, so I thought I better crack on with this tutorial of such. I don't really do tutorials, but I'm going to do my best in explaining to you how I put my journals together. Now, it's going to be very straightforward because I like to keep things fairly straightforward because I'm not very good at explaining things. But I just made that wall hanging that I've just shown you because I think it goes really well with these pictures. I'm just going to zoom in. I don't know why I made this. I just wanted to. It was basically some little decals that I had. So I Mod Podged it onto some calico, which will all become clear as the video goes on. And there's my calico. And I keep it in plastic bags. So I always use my calico and I make sure that I get half a metre. I asked them at the shop to cut it into half metre pieces, please. And it's 32-inch metre pieces, which they kindly cut into halves for me. So I've got it all prepared and ready for the size I want to use for my journal. So this is it. This is the calico that I always use. I just spread it out like that, and then I give it a really good iron with a steam iron, and I always put my images on to my calico with steam with a very hot iron. So some people don't, but I do, and they work out just fine. So there's 4 images there. It was 1 sheet of decoupage rice paper with some beautiful images on. So what I've done is, you can see there is calico there that's been used. So it's just a piece of rice paper like that, say. Let's pretend it's got those images on. I iron my calico really, really well. I pop on my, I even iron the actual image with that over it. I just run it over the iron before I put my Mod Podge. Is it called Mod Podge? I'm sure it is. Because I sometimes call it Mod Podge, and it's not. That's not the correct way to say it. So I'll just call it what I normally do. I put my Mod Podge onto the calico, and then I put the rice paper over the top of that, and then I put my greaseproof paper over the image and give it a good steam. And of course, underneath my calico, there is some of the parchment paper is underneath the calico, otherwise it would stain my table, and I don't want that. So there's lots of parchment paper on the top and the bottom. Then we have our calico, and we have our image with the Mod Podge secured. With the image nicely secured to your calico, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. So what I've done here is I've used some wadding or some batting, and I've actually used 2 layers. There's a pink, green layer there, and also you can see just peeping out from the lace, you can see a yellow layer just to go with the girl's outfit of pure wool felt, and I sewed it together. So I'm going to have to zoom out here to show you. So on the left we just have an image, 2 images there, of rice paper which has been ironed onto some calico, which is taken very well. I do, like I said, use the high heat, and just I love to see it nice and crinkle free like that. And on the right I've used the same size image, and I've just put some lace around it and some beautiful felt, 2 types of felt. We have an orange one there, and then we have the green felts. With the wall hanging, I got out my watercolour pencils and paints, and I added some extra flowers, and I also stained around the image because it was wouldn't have looked like that had I have not done that. So that's been hand painted, and so is she to a great, and so these, I always add colour to the flowers, and I always stain them with my watercolour pens. So I do my own work on the images. This has a layer of sparkly tulle on the wall hanging has some very sparkly, lovely tulle on it. And I'm going to cut that in half because I have some giant quilt pins. So I'm going to make those in. I want to show you after this video what I'm talking about. I should have included them in this video, but I forgot. So I'm not going to make a journal out of that, although I could. But keep watching till the end or fast forward to the end, and you'll see the difference in my older journals to the journals I make now, which are much smaller. They really are. They're far smaller than what I used to make. They used to be absolutely ginormous. Here they are. So there's one I made quite a while back, and all of this is going to be taken apart and made into a smaller journal or into these lovely felt, they're like a little, they're like the roses that I did. I'm going to put some giant quilt pins through them so you can hang them on cushions, things like that. But I've always got lots and lots to work with if I've got a journal that perhaps is way over the top big, like this one. So what I'll do is I'll keep it as inspiration for these lovely quilt pin sort of little hangings that I do. And you can put them on cushions and you can put them on journals. So she's really pretty. I printed her off with my inkjet printer. But the good thing is I have all of these lovely things waiting as inspiration from what I did before, so I can make anything I want to. But I am loving these giant quilt pin things, which I will show you quickly. After this video, I'll just pop another one on and show you what I'm talking about. So she came off my inkjet printer. I think I made her wings from fabric, I'm not sure. I did make some paper, and this is all just waiting for me to, to remove, because I'm not keen on it, to be quite honest. It's way too big for a journal. It's more like a book. It's more like a giant, enormous book, and it's all over the place, and it's too shiny. There's lots of pockets there which I can use on other things, but they've all just been sat there in my drawer. And that's a really old piece of quilt. It's a Durham quilt, which I made a belly band from. So yeah, I'll be taking all that off as well. So I've got all these things, and it's just for inspiration really as to what I'm going to make next. But I'm very much into my roses at the moment, velvet roses, and that is a painting that I did. Whoops, I'm a bit too quick there. Hang on, I'm just playing this back for you again so you can see that painting that I did. But yeah, I just painted everything on there and used my paints. It just adds a little bit of personality onto whatever you're doing. So that's kind of a mixed media, and I just love mixed media paintings of any sort. So here we have a huge journal. Again, this is coming apart, and it has a fairy on the front made with tulle over the fairy or around the fairy, just to give it that little fairy look, with a sparkly, magical look. And I've used the bobbin method. In other words, put a different thread in my bobbin, and that's what I did for that one. So I'm just going to back the camera out. To the right of the screen there, my iPad is actually sitting on a big apple box, and then we have a French wine box, and that's what it's sitting on. So that's how I do my my filming. It's a bit of a kerfuffle, really. So all of these things here are things I intend to use in future projects. So I've got so many good ideas in my head at the moment. It's just, getting them down into the actual projects themselves. So when you've got all this laying around, you've got inspiration. So I thought, oh gosh, I really don't like these journals. And I do have this inspiration now to put them into these quilt pin hanging, little mini wall hangings, if you like. So this quite arty book will be going into some pinnable wall hanging things. I don't quite know what to call them, but like I said, I'm going to come back on. I'm sure I've got some left after the giveaway. You know the roses that I made? Well, you know, you can pin those onto anything. So I'll be making some really scrummy things this week because I'm very much in the mood. I should just leave my camera on and just do my stuff, you know, just create away so you can see what I do. I love to watch you when you're doing your tutorials. And I know Sonia Steptoe, she does some amazing tutorials. She just lets the camera run and she does fantastic videos. So anyway, I'm just going to leave you with this because I don't really need to show you anymore. Whoops, yes I do. Yesterday I made some of these. I ordered a great big roll of what I thought was parchment paper, cookie paper, so I could do my decoupage on, and it's not very good stuff. So I had this big roll of brown, very similar to parchment paper. So what I've done is I've done some artwork on there, and I've just used some gold paint and mixed mediated a load of napkins. So they're just napkins that are put together in any old form, ironed on with the iron, a hot iron, with the baking paper, you know, just as I do with putting my images onto calico, except I used brown paper. And I love that one. I've smudged it with my paints. So these are great. They were such fun to make, and I will if you want me to do a tutorial. So I'll do it this week if you want to know how I did these. It's the first one took quite a while because I was trying to figure out, you know, where to put this and where to put that. But this one hasn't got any of my painting on it at all. It's just napkins onto the brown paper, ironed on. I've kind of really spoken quickly and rushed through this because I didn't want to bore you. So I'm going to leave you now, and I shall be back shortly with, see the difference the paint makes. So I'm going to leave you now with this, and I'll be back with some ideas that I've been doing. Okay? And there's the brown paper as it came. It was just boring like that. So I decided I'm not going to waste it. So I did some arty stuff over the top. So I'll speak to you very soon. You have a lovely day, and hopefully I'll be back in a few minutes. Bye for now.